One more party now, one more party tonight.
Hello everyone, this is our birds and blooms tutorials. We've done a few of them now. I did a blue tit in some pink, cosmos type flowers, and I did the bullfinches, Mr. and Mrs. Bullfinch, in some nice daisies, and the first part of this was doing a little wren. For those of you across the Atlantic or across the world, a wren is a very common little garden bird in Britain, but it's quite highly thought of. It's thought of as being quite British, and we call it, both male and female, we call them little Jenny wrens, and they have this very sticky up tail, which is the bit that defines them from other birds. So that was my reference picture. This was our bird that we painted, just to get everybody up to speed. And I put that on there so I could transfer details through. I'm finished now with Jenny. I think she looks fine, so I'll just take that off. I used duct tape. Frog tape, not duct tape, don't use that for heaven's sake. Frog tape, because it's painter's tape. It has much less adhesion. If you are doing this onto something that you've really recently painted, the best thing to do is just stick it on yourself and pull it off, and that'll get rid of quite a lot of the adhesion, so it won't pull your paint off. However, we're done with her now, and we're down to the blooms. Now these are actually this cabinet had these two little doors, and it had glass in the doors, which I didn't like. I didn't think it was particularly an easy piece of furniture to place in your home. Whatever you put in it, it would have to be really tidy. That would never work in my house, because people can see right through the glass. So, and I wanted something to paint onto. So, Mr. Handyman ferreted around and came up with this quite thin, I think it might be hardboard actually. It's just the exact thickness that the glass was, and it slides into that section that the glass slid out of. So that's excellent. And of course they're off the doors, so there's a frame around it, two little knobs here. But I've decided that I'm going to paint them as one, with a bit of continuity through both of them. So what I'm going to do is tape them together and treat it just like one canvas. So I'm just going to use masking tape because that's what I have to hand. I know it will come off easily. I don't really want it over onto the front if I can avoid it. So that's fine. Need to tear a little bit off that, or just wrinkle it up. Right, so they're stuck together as one canvas now. That's clever, isn't it? So, I should say that for this painting we are using golden open paints. They are slow drying acrylics. Sorry, I had it upside down. They're slow drying acrylics, it says here, and they're quite easy to tell apart from the ordinary heavy body because they have the bottom part of the tube is black. They allow me to do this technique with the flowers that I've found impossible to achieve with other paints. I'm not saying I've tried every paint out there, because obviously I don't have the money, the resources to try every paint, but I've tried it with the golden heavy body, I've tried it with the Snellia Abstract, I've tried it with Liquitex Professional. None of those work, no matter what I added to it, fluid retarder, whatever. So if you like the effect I'm getting, I'm afraid to say you're going to have to put your hand in your pocket and order at least a blue, a red, yellow, black and white, and that should see you through most things. You can mix from there. Right, the colours today. If you're an experienced artist, you'll understand exactly what I'm going to say. For the rest of us who are just learning, colour theory is a really critical part of whatever painting we wish to make. And we may know it instinctively not know why we know it. But on the colour wheel, the colours that are opposite each other make the other one pop. And in yellow's case, the opposite on the colour wheel to that is purple. And so we're going to make our flowers today in purple. That's the best combination that we could have. If we had green, we'd do red, you know, whatever. I will do a live very, very soon on my Facebook page, which you can see the link to below this. All about the well, not all about, because that would take years, but the basics of the colour wheel and how to tint, shade, what hues are, blah blah. So let's make a start then. I'm just going to, for a start, think about where I want some of these flowers and just pencil them in. I haven't put a background on this before I painted Jenny in, so I've made life slightly difficult for myself, but nothing that we can't get past. I'm going to put a stalk up here with a little flower, little bud of a flower up there, and one up here, similarly with a little bud. These flowers tonight that I'm painting, they are IDK flowers. I don't know what they are. They're just flowers, they're pretty. So that's coming down here. Now, I'd like Jenny to be sitting on something, if possible. So I might put a half flower coming out here, so she's sort of sitting on the flower. Can you see that? No. Okay, I'll use this one then. I think you probably can see it. So I'll have a stalk there, a little bit of a bud, a little bit of a bud, a bit of a stalk there. Jenny's going to be sitting on a bit of a flower. Don't use graphite pencils for drawing this out. They're the devil's own. You can't get to the end of it. Doesn't matter what you do, the graphite still shows up, so it becomes a pest. The ideal thing is something like this Derwent pastel pencil. I've got a set, I think they came in 12 actually, so I have a set of 12. I also do pastel work, which is probably my first love actually. I really like doing pastels, and so you need pastel pencils when you're doing pastel work, just for the fine details, but they also come in handy for this, because they just get absorbed into the paint and you don't notice them at all. And having a set of 12 is nice, because it means I can draw on any colour background that I've got. So, where are we then? We're putting our flowers in. So I'll have one here that's looking up that way. I might have a set of 3 here in the middle that are sort of looking at us. I'm not sure I like that. I'll have one here that's looking down. And maybe just a bud of a one here, and another one here that's looking down. When flowers look down or up, you need to draw an oval for them, because you're seeing them not round ways on. The only time you'd see the flower round ways on is if it is actually looking at you. And believe it or not, flowers don't do that very often. They tend to look up to the sun. So generally, the most flowers we would see would be sideways on. So I think that's enough there around Jenny. I might do another little bit of greenery when I come to do that. And so I'm going to draw over here. I don't really want 2 in a line, so I'll put this one further down. I should have thought about this really early, but you don't. You just don't. I'll put one full one there, a little bit of one there, a little bit of one there. Have some stems, stalky stuff coming out, some leaves, maybe a little bit of a bud or one that's dying off there. and possibly, I think that's actually going to spoil it. I think that's probably all right. I don't want it to be symmetrical. Yeah, I think that's okay. So then we have the choice of whether we put the background in first or whether we put it in afterwards. Either way is fine, whichever way takes your fancy, really. But I like to get the background in, just lightly cover over where the flowers are going to go, and then come in for my flowers. So let's get painting. I've got sap green hue in the golden open. That's kind of, apart from the phthalo green, which is not the right green for this. So I'll just put some sap green onto my open palette and show you that, so you know what I mean. This is a palette that, actually that's bone dry, it shouldn't be, but you have a wet spongy stuff and then this paper that goes over the top that's a bit like parchment paper. I don't think it is actually parchment paper. I've got hair there, that's it. It's kind of osmotic paper, and it keeps your paints nice and open, keeps them workable for much, much longer. You do, however, have to make sure that that's, I mean, it's slightly damp, but not enough. And then you put your paints out on there, the colours that you think you're going to use, and then take them from there onto your mixing palette. Don't do your mixing on here, otherwise you'll end up, you'll have used all this paper up, and you've got to buy the stuff. So, but I do think they're a worthwhile investment. I have seen some people making these themselves. I can't actually remember how they did that, but I'm sure there's information around and about that. So I'm going to take my Mr. Handyman spraying my palette. So I'm not taking any paint to do anything with at the moment.
Just dampening you down, my dear.
Fair enough.
Keeping you moist.
Moist. For those of you who watched Miranda Hart in a programme that was called Miranda, moist, the word moist has taken on a whole new meaning. And she was absolutely brilliant. I really, really like her. She's so funny. She's so sort of middle class. It's just funny. And she sometimes she just takes words and repeats them, and they start to sound so grubby and moist. That was one of them. So I can't hear that now without thinking of Miranda. So I'm going to take a bit of this sap green and I'm going to bring it over to my palette. I don't really want to mix it at the moment with anything. I want a dark green. So in between these flowers here, that's where it's going to be darkest. But I want to definitely leave well alone Jenny's head and Jenny's tail. Those are the defining things that make her a wren. So I don't want to get muddled up with background and stuff. So I'm just going to come under her here, round these flowers with dark green. You don't have to be tidy about it at all. It's just we want to get some darks in there. Go over where your flower is or whatever. I just dipped my brush in some fluid retarder actually because it was feeling a bit tight. I'll leave that there. Just come down here. I mean, we can tidy all this, absolutely tidy it all up when we've got the flowers in, but we just want some definite darks in here, and we'll try when we do the flowers, see how they turn out. It's always a bit of a lottery, to get the lightest part of the flower against the darkest part of the background. Light lights, dark darks together, and you'll get much more of a oomph to your painting. Oomph. Just put some, drop some down into here. That's fine. Now that's the darkest darks. But now we need to lighten it up a little bit just to go outside of that section. So we could, the colours I've already got out are yellow ochre, fancy yellow, white. So I could use any of those to lighten that green. I'll try a little yellow ochre first, see what colour that gives us. Yeah, that's quite a nice green, it's different. Let's add a little bit more. Yep, that's quite nice. So we'll just go out a little bit around here, around the flowers. This is the stem here, so we'll just put that in. And there's one here, going up into Jenny. There'll be leaves on it and such like and so forth, so don't get alarmed at this stage. I'm going to put some background here, but not any further up to Jenny, definitely not. I really want to, as I said, leave a tail and whatnot. Just really lay this down as, like when we block in things, this is kind of what we're doing here. We're just blocking in the green, really, casting a thought to where it ends, where leaves might be, stalks, etc., etc. That's going to have a stalk. That's going to have a stalk coming down here. It's also got some leaves there, but we'll leave that until nearer the end. And there's a bit of darkness needs to go on in there. I don't think we really need to do too much more to that at the moment. I'm quite happy to have flowers as the outside. This is not the best of brushes. It's an angle brush, but it's a really old one, and it hasn't got a good edge on it. So I'll just take my also old but slightly better angle shader, 1/4 inch angle shader, load it up, and I'm just going to put some little suggestions of spikes and things coming out that could be interesting, that we can use later on to give us a hook to build things on. And when we come back, we'll change colour again. Okay, so that's fine. So now we need to put in kind of the background of our flowers, and we need to choose a colour that is going to complement the purple that we're going to make the flowers. So you don't need to go straight in with the, you don't even really need to clean your brush, to be honest. Just any colour that you've got on your brush is fine. And I intend my colours to be a mixture of permanent violet dark and dioxazine purple. You may wonder why you would need both of these colours in your pack, but when you put them out and mix them with white, you'll see that they are quite different beasts. So I'm just going to put a bit of that out, put a bit of the diox out as well. Be careful with the dioxazine purple, it's really, really highly pigmented. And if you get it in the wrong place, or on your finger that you don't know about it, you will know about it before you've ended. So I think I'm going to use quinacridone magenta mixed with a little bit of that deep purple there. That's got a bit of life to it, mixed maybe with a little bit of white in there. Now that's mixed, that's it mixed. I hope you can see that, because it's not mixed at all. I've just added splodges of things to it, so I'm not getting a definite colour. So we'll go in, we'll start off, this one's looking straight at me, so I'll put quite a lot of paint on there. So we'll just draw in the shape that we want our flower to be. This is just the underneath, so you can't possibly get this bit wrong. You can't, honestly. Draw it into towards the centre. This is probably the trickiest bit there is, really. Just don't want to get onto Jenny if I can help it, but I do want to be tight up under there. And we'll leave the bit that's the centre of the flower. I'm just going to dip into the fluid retarder again, because my white's been out quite a long time, and although they are open, they do eventually close up. This one's coming down, so it's going to go that way, a bit wider at the where it folds over, like that. And this one's going upwards, like that. We'll put a bottom on that. And this one's coming straight in. Now I'm picking up a bit of this green here, but don't worry, just don't. It all adds to the merry pattern of our lovely flowers. You know, if some of your strokes are more white, well, they're more white. Just make sure that you pull right into the centre. This one's lipping up, so he's got some back leaves, back petals here, and wider here, wider there, and it comes around here, like that. I'll establish that his centre's about there. Yeah, this one. Just draw those side petals on like that, like we're looking at them sideways on. And we do some more work with that when we come back with the white. This one's face on. So by introducing all these colours into the background, some green, some purple, some violet, some white, it's going to give our flowers a bit of character even before we start. I mean, you can see there now, it's, you know, it's got some life about it. It's not just dull old one colour. What was this one? Was that straight on as well? Yeah, I think we could get away with that. And scope into the green. Try and catch the green if you can. Give it a bit more, a bit of a different colour. My green's pretty dry by now, actually. Make sure you leave the centre where you want the centre to be. Let's just put these in. Just little buds or little ones that can make that more into a bud, make it more round like that. And when we come back with our greens, when we're finished, we'll put a little bit of green around it so it looks like it's burst open. So they don't have centres. They do, but we can't see them. So I've got another little one down here. And another little one down here. So we can see where we're going now, I think. What do you think, Mr. H?
Definitely.
Yeah, see where we're going. So now we need to lighten it up, really. It's quite dark, apart from this one that's managed to get hit by the white. So we'll take some white and we'll bring it over onto our palette. But I don't want it just pure white. Because then what's the point in putting all those lovely colours in? We need it white mixed up loosely with something, just to give it a bit of life, really. So I'm going to bring the dioxazine, the dioxazine purple, and I'm going to bring some of the permanent violet as well. And I'm going to dip randomly into there and into a colour, maybe both if I want. and we'll start here where we started from before. Now you see that diox, what a different colour that is to the violet that we put on. I'll leave that to think about life for a while, but I'd like to go back and put more violet in it. I thought that was the permanent violet, but it was actually the diox. Don't worry, we can paint over anything. Turn that up a little bit like that. We're not really intentionally trying to block out the back painting that we put on. It's nice. See if we can use it. These little petals down the front, they're shorter. They appear shorter. So we're just trying to build up some life into these flowers. I don't really want it. That's more what I'm after. A bit of marbless. Actually, these are dried. Shows you how warm it is in here. I'm going to just put some fluid retarder on with this because it's drying on me. Like that. So we're getting a bit of life into these, and we haven't done anything yet that's complicated in any way, I don't think. So once we've got this on, we've got some paint to play with, if you like. We can go back in and play with the colours. You just need your background of quite a bit of paint before you can do that. Try and make them all different. Because when you look at flowers, even a bunch of flowers, even some of the flowers that are from the same stem, they're different. So we need to acknowledge that. Anyway, it makes it interesting for us. Okay, so the one that's standing out is the first one I did, where I grabbed the diox instead of the permanent violet. I've got plenty there. So let's bring some of that permanent violet over again, because I don't want to get mixed up with the diox again. Ooh, the dog's found a packet of biscuits on the settee. Naughty boy. So I'm definitely going to take quite a lot of white this time, heavily load my brush with white, and just run it through that the violet. And let's just come in again. Wipe it off because you're picking up some of that diox every time. In you go, like that. Wipe your brush off. That's nice, nice little bit of dry brushing has occurred there, all of its own volition, which I like a lot. Comes down here. So that's nice, and that's pretty much where we want to be at this moment. So let's go back through in with the white. We're adding it, but we're not adding it everywhere. we're adding it where we think the light would catch, which might just be on the tips of some of these. And I think that's going to be very white, that part down there. Maybe there too. So you see, we're starting, we're building up our flowers. You want to make them neat, but not necessarily neat and tidy. Make sure it's not kind of like that. So there we are. So now what we need to do is put the centres in, I think. So we've got a bit more, that needs some white, bit more idea of what they're going to look like as flowers. So I'll just let the white off there. Ordinarily with flowers that I do, I make centres dark purple, and I could do that here. It would be okay, but I think the yellow would look better against this. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna put the dioxin in the centre, and then later I'll come along with the yellow, because I want some of this going up through my flower. So tap your centre in with the dioxazine purple into all of them, and we'll get a better idea of how we're looking. The oval ones, the ones that we've drawn oval, they have an oval centre. The ones face on, they have a round centre pretty much. And it's always incredible once you start putting the centres in. It kind of comes to life, don't you think, Mr. H?
They do.
Start looking like flowers, don't they?
They do. It's like a face without a nose.
Yeah. I'd find that really awkward because my glasses would fall off. As I say, take care, the oval ones have oval centres. And none of these have got centres that we can see. They're all either coming out or turning down. We can't see them. So yeah, already I think that's quite a nice composition. Do you, Mr. H? Think we're on the right track?
I do.
I don't know why I'm wiping that out, because I actually need that now. I need some of this dioxazine purple, which was there, because we need some darks, some real darks, to accentuate the lights that we've put on. So this is in the shade of Jenny, so it will have some shade. So let's just be cavalier about this and put some shade on where we think it needs it. I think that'll be around there. I think this will be this side of it, like that. It's quite worrying when you do this, because you think, oh no, my flowers, I spent ages with them, now I'm wrecking them. But you're not, and I think this one's underneath there. That one's going that way. Just be brave, all come clean in the wash. Alright, we're done already. Right, that's that. So, back to white now, back to pure white. So give your brush a good nip out. It's amazing how much colour that dioxazine purple is. Lethal. Lethal. And if we've got a bit of purple in the brush, you know, it's not going to be the end of the world. The flower's all purple. So let's come in again with the white. I'm going to bring some new clean white over here. Dab it through my brush. So I want this to sort of go up here. Drag that out a little bit, that dark. And I want my very lights here. Like that. This one we need to just, let's clean the paint off that. Just drag this up a little bit. Like that. Gives a bit of life in that flower. I'll do that to all of them and then we know where we're at. This can come back to that sort of leaf that's folded over. There's a bit of dark in there. Give this one a bit of dark coming up here. Keep going to my palette, and I don't actually need to go to my palette. Paint's already on my piece. So there, that gives us a bit of tonality. The posh way of saying we've got some lights and darks. And then this one. You would really be aiming to get the sun light going the same way on all your flowers, and I've kind of tried to do that. I've got all the darker sides down here. So let's just work on the whites first, and then we can work on the side that's in the shade. So white. So this is where our light's going to be. And here. Just another little bit there. Nip your brush up every time, because every time that you do it, you'll be picking up the colours from underneath. This one, yes, I agree with what I've done earlier. It's caught that light, but it's also sitting up, so it's caught that light too. So I agree with what I'd already done, which is good. You don't want me having an argument with myself, do you? Miss Paintalot, what are you doing? I'm doing everything all right. No, you're not. Like that.
You sounded freakily like yourself then.
Did I? Yeah, I think that's because I was myself. Let's put these edge stripes on. That are the petals that we are seeing straight on. So we're not seeing the sort of whole peckly bit. We're just seeing it like this, edgeways on. So the light would come down. This would be in shade from here. So this would be where the light is. Put a bit onto here and there. We're going to come back in with purple in it, the violet in a minute, so there's always a chance to redeem anything that you think you've done that you're not quite happy with. But I am trying to keep the lighter side to one side, so it makes some sort of sense optically. Okay, I don't like those petals now. I'm going to paint them out into one, or there for that matter. live with the rest. Okay, right, how's that looking? Looks like we're getting somewhere. So now we're going to come back in with our mid colour. The dioxazine purple is the darkest dark. The white obviously is the lightest light. And we're going to come back in now with the mid tone, which is the permanent violet. I've got a little bit of fluid retarder there just to help my cause and try and get some streaks going. So we put the lightest light where we wanted, and we'll come back in with a mid-tone like that. That's nice, the streaks there, which you'll get if you don't mix your colours up before you put them on the brush. Take a bit of one colour, a bit of another colour, and that's as mixed as you need to be. So this one is one here that a little bit of that, a little bit of that. So let's just bring these in, make it the whole thing a bit more cohesive. And you can paint right up to that the one that we did crossways on. Try and keep your permanent purple, whatever it is, violet, pure if you can, pure of the white on the palette. Obviously it's going to mix on the blinking brush. Let's just come down there a little bit. Just put some of this mixture on here. Otherwise it just looks too white. So we're adding detail really to our flowers. So this needs quite a lot of this violet into it. These are coming forward, coming like that. I think I've had them at the wrong angle. Try and preserve the darker part in the centre and the shadow coming up. You can mess with your finger if you like it. Sometimes you get a better result than you do with the brush. It's a more blunt tool, and it seems to work quite well. Because our dark that we put in is still wet because it's an open paint. So you get a nice effect like that. I'm just going to load white and just come in there, just off the edge, and just work that in. Like that. Quite happy with that. Load some white. Where are we going? Let's do this one. It's just a bit stark. The contrast is there is no contrast. It's either white or it's purple, and that's not natural. So I'm going to have to come in afterwards and probably redo most of these centres. That's okay. We're painting. We're not in a rush. I don't think. I'm not particularly in a rush, but I do know that you're going to get fed up eventually. So I've got to make some effort to get it done. That's looking much better. Much better. I'm liking that.
blocking some light out for a second and might be able to see.
Oh, okay, is it glary?
Well, we have to have the studio lights very bright, so
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't quite.
In case you've noticed, people, today, for the first time in many a moon, I'm actually wearing makeup. Oh dear, which is it's not normal for me. But last night we were watching this TV programme about...
block some of the light.
See it better, can you?
Yeah, can you see there? Look.
Yeah, that looks loads better, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's not quite as washed out as it looks on the camera.
Yeah, I was saying last night on watching on the telly, and there's this programme about makeup artists, or as they're known in the trade, MUAs. MUA, makeup artists. And they were doing these very fancy things, and they were doing celebrities and whatever. And I said to Mr. H, I said, blimey, what performance, eh? And he said, yeah, you know, but it's true, you don't want to be glary. He said, sometimes you look quite glary. He said, you know, maybe you benefit from some makeup. So today, I have makeup. So I hope you appreciate it. I'm just adding the edge of some petals around here. I'm going to take some darker there and bring that out a little bit. Just blend it with your finger if you want to, because you get a very nice soft blend. This one's looking a bit worse for wear.
Try and plug in that light and see whether we can improve it that way.
Mr. H is on a mission to sort out the light. That's good.
Can go dark.
Okay.
That's not so bad, is it?
No, that's all right. Perhaps look a bit flatter than...
Very my life studio lighting.
Yeah, it is a pain. Okay, so we're progressing. Does it look all right now, or wrong?
No, it looks. You can see the strokes better when the big light's on.
So I'm just going to add some dark to the bottom of here. Push it out a little bit. Get some white. Pull it back in a little bit. Brush is dirty, so it's turned out to be the same colour. Pull that back in. Okay, so we need slightly more definition here, and I think we need dark for that. So back to the dioxazine. A little bit. Just put your centres in again, and a little bit on the shadow side. And just pull that out. Centres in again, and pull that out a little bit. That's quite a sort of nicely rounded one. I really need some more down here. If this is rounded, it needs some shadow on it to keep that rounded look. With these two colours, they look really, really similar on the palette. So you're just going to have to be careful, I think, that, you know, keep them on separate sides of the palette, or be careful what you're picking up, I would say. Also a little bit on this fellow here. So we're not looking too bad, I don't think. So a little bit more on him. He's quite dark, this flower here, because he's in the shade of the Wren. So we're not too bad at all there, I don't think. So let's just once again take a mixture of this violet and white, and just really go for where the light is, which is going to be here. Enough white on that. Bring this down here. Grab some more white from my palette. So it's going to be here and here. Really make that white. You'll put it in, you'll think, oh, that's far too white, but it's not. Really isn't. You've got the darks, you've absolutely got to have the lights. Otherwise it just doesn't work. It's got quite a lot of white where it needs it anyway. Just need some of this taken down a bit. So I'll use some of the paint from my centre to do that. I'm using an angle shader. That's why strokes aren't going where I thought they should be going. This is a little short flat now, 1/4 inch flat. Okay, I think we're reaching this stage where we just need to concentrate a little bit on the greenery, finishing off. See what it looks like when we think we're finished. Don't think we're too bad here. I mean, really, you can mess forever. So we've got dark centres in there, so now I'm going to come in and I'm going to put yellow centres in them. This is a Hansa Yellow Opaque. Don't be suckered in by that. It's not opaque. Golden, on all their tubes, they have these 3 lines at the top, and painted over that is the actual paint that's in the tube, not that's in your tube, but the batch from where it came from. And if you can see the 3 lines, then it's transparent. If you can't see the 3 lines, like the burnt sienna is probably the most opaque that I've got. So we're asking this transparent yellow to cover this dark purple, and it hasn't got the strength to do that. So we're going to mix a little bit of white, which is more opaque, through it, which will give it more of a shot of covering, more of a chance. So I'll just put a little centre in there. I might have to come back a couple of times to do this, because as I say, we're asking a lot of this transparent paint. The more white you get in your mix, the more chance you've got, but we don't want them all the same, so. There we are, we've got yellow flowers and dark centres around them. I think that looks quite nice. I think I'm relatively pleased with that. What do you think, Mr. H? It sounds alright.
Yes, I think it's very nice.
Mr. H thinks it's very nice. Right, so I've got this pool here of yellow and white. I've just added some retarder to it, which you can see is manky. It's disgusting, but it doesn't matter at all. I'm going to add some green into that yellow and white that we've got. It's the sap green. It's the only green that you'll see me use. And we'll just put some details, leafy sort of things, and these need a little sort of green thing that comes up there, and then they've always got these two little stalks that fall down, don't they? I'll put some leaves on there. Because these are IDK flowers, nobody knows what the leaves are like anyway, so it'll be whatever you want. Put a leaf on there. Don't want to swamp Jenny. Try not to swamp Jenny. Don't swamp the bird. I'm going to mix some white in there so we've got a slightly different colour. Let's put a mark of a different colour through there because they look a bit sort of false. That's fine. And with our different colour, we'll just maybe hint at some leaves coming up there, coming out of here perhaps. I'm just going to bring some of my sap green over some of the unmixed sap green. Just put a little bit in next to the flower, just make it stand out a bit. Keep changing your greens, mix more yellow, mix more white. Just to give it a bit of life. You don't have to paint the entire sort of leafage that would go with this. People are good at making that sort of thing up with their own eyes for themselves. It's got that comes around like that. It's got a little stem. It's also got a stem. A bit of green in there. Mix a little bit brighter dark green. It's going to come up here. Just put some shading through it, so it could be leaves, it could be anything. A little bit of the darker green right up next to the flowers, like that. This could well be stems down here. Coming down off here. Then we've got a stem there, so we just need a bit of a wiggly leaf. Leaf's gone a bit awry. It'll be alright. There we go. It's only paint, guys. It's only acrylic paint. I know it's expensive and you don't want to waste it, but at the end of the day, you can always paint over it, or chuck it on the back of the fire, or whatever. It's paint. It's, nobody's going to die. Put some dark on top of that light. Let's give them a bit of colour. Also looks a bit light for my liking. This one hasn't got his on yet. I've got to join up. And this fella here. do something here because I don't like this stem coming up like that. I don't find it pleasing. I'm just going to paint a leaf in, I think, is the way forward. Quite a big leaf to cover that up. Take a lighter colour, just add a bit of interest to it. That's fine. That's okay now. Got some sort of dodgy business going on in here. Let's put some green in to definitely make sure those flowers are standing out. So we want a dark green next to the flowers. But we don't necessarily want to bring that dark green outside of the flowers. And also, bring some more soft green over. Everything that's in there isn't going to be the same colour. So we're going to have to add some details, like some leaves in there. Maybe, you know, over the top of it, one of our flowers at least, like that. Get a bit of the darker green. Just add a bit of interest. Like that. That's alright, I'm not unsatisfied with that. Something here that could or could not be a leaf. This has kind of lost its way in life. So it's just really this section now to concern me. Then I'll look back at the flowers and make sure that I'm happy with them. I like this colour that we had here. It must have been a yellow. Must have been a yellow, maybe a bit of white in there. With it having yellow in it, it goes nicely with the background. Another one here. Got them lined up like soldiers, because that's just not what happens. Some dark. Let's start a little shadow under there. Maybe up through it. Maybe up through that one there. Okay, so I think we're making progress. I'd like to say that it's taken time, and you know, most things take time to achieve, but it is achievable. Really, really is very, very achievable. So you know, don't copy what I do stroke by stroke. You'll never learn that way, and you know, it's probably not correct anyway. So try and develop your own way of doing things. Look through the video once, see what's going on, get familiar with it, and then you know, watch it maybe half speed or something as you paint along. See if you can manage that. What's that look like? Is that alright?
Need some real dark under that one.
Okay. Let's pull it away a little bit. You just don't have a dark line on its own. There's a tiny section in there that's lovely. What do the flowers look like? Do they need any more work? Are they alright?
They're fine. You may want some more little flicks of the purpley
Little
colour.
flourishes
Perhaps, little flicks of the purpley colour.
of the purple.
Well, there's flower colour.
Yeah.
Just little flicks, maybe, just to show there might be some behind, maybe. But I'm guessing here.
No, because I've got all these behind.
Yeah.
I could put one there. I suppose it's just...
No. Don't be persuaded by me.
I think that's it. I think I'm happy with that. I'm calling it done. So there we are, our little Jenny Wren sitting in a garden with her, I don't know, flowers. I think she's pretty. I think it'll look nice when it's on the cabinet. I'll take some photographs and I'll show you when it's done. Thank you very, very much indeed for watching me. It would be a bit silly if I was sitting here talking to myself all the time. Or Mr. Handyman, I think he would have had enough by now. Can I also say to you, please, thank you very, very, very much for the people, to the people who've donated to keep this channel and the tutorials live, progressing. I, like you, have to buy my paints at the paint shop, same price, don't get any discount or anything, and it is expensive. I made the decision not to form a closed Facebook group where you have to pay to be a member. I'd rather just make it free for everyone, and if you feel like you're gaining experience and confidence and I'm helping in some way and you can do it, then I would really be grateful of any donations that you could that you feel you could give. And having said that, underneath this there will be a link to my Facebook group. If you want to join that, it's free. It's free and it's fun. There's a lot of beginners on there and we're all plodding along, learning as we go. So thanks very much. I'll see you again soon. Bye.
Me and the boys was sitting around drinking. We was talking about things that we was thinking, when all of a sudden what comes out of Bill's mouth? Said I'm getting old and fat and slow, and I don't recover like I did before from nights of rabble, rousing and too much fun. Well, I looked around and we all agreed, and I